Hey, Jaden, thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations. If you're good to go, just give us a thumbs up. All right, we're all set. So everyone, again, welcome to this NCAA March Madness postgame press conference featuring the victorious Alabama Crimson Tide. We have sophomore guard Jaden Shackelford with us now after his 21-point performance. And so thanks everyone for participating. We will begin the press conference now, and media members, final reminder, you can use the raise hand function to indicate if you'd like to ask a question. And then when you're called on, state your name and affiliation first so that Jaden knows who he's speaking with. We'll start our questions with Cecil Hurt from the Tuscaloosa News. Cecil, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Jaden, first, what was the difference in the three-point shooting from the first game of the tournament until tonight? Why the improvement? And then I have a follow-up.
Right. I feel like we didn't come out the first game with as much defensive intensity as we needed to. And, this game, I feel like we kind of changed that. That was a big emphasis coming in today. So, we run off stops. Our three ball usually falls more. So I feel like that was a bigger reason why our three ball fell this game.
And also, growing up playing high school basketball in Southern California, do you follow UCLA? Is this a big game for you personally?
Yeah, most definitely. I always follow UCLA. Always one of my favorite teams to watch. So, it's going to be cool playing against, a Pac-12 team out west. So, that'll be fun.
Thanks for your question, Cecil. Next, we'll go to Michael Casagrande with AL.com. Michael, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Jaden, just the three-point shot tonight with Petty specifically. I know he had been struggling a little bit. What was it like to see him? I know he made a couple in a row there in the bench where he went nuts for him. What was that moment like?
It was amazing, man. It's good to see, the work pay off, and, JP's in the gym all the time. So it feels good, see him knock down some shots this game. It was big for us, it was big on our run. So it was good to see the shot fall for him. I'm super proud of him, super happy.
Thanks for your question, Michael. Next, we go to Tyler Martin with Bama Central. Tyler, you can unmute yourself to ask your question.
Hey, Jaden, there was a stretch in the game when JP hit those back-to-back threes, and then you hit the back-to-back threes to really pull away. What's the electricity like on the court in that moment? Because you guys, just as a whole, just seemed fired up and so much fun and had so much confidence that anything you put up was going to go in.
Right. It's surreal, to be honest. We dreamt of being on this stage early on in the year. So, just see the work at hand and on display is just surreal. Our bench is great. Our fans are great. Much love to them for all the support they bring to us. Just all that just fed into that electricity on the court for us, and it was big. It probably helped us make those shots. So, big shots, but there's a lot going into it.
Thanks for your question, Tyler. Next, we'll go to Drew Thiarman with WZZK. Drew, you can unmute yourself to ask your question.
Yeah, Jaden, just congratulations, first of all, to you and the guys. But talk about the offensive rhythm that you guys got into quickly. What did you think the key there was? And talk about Javon Quinley's performance. You really ran the team well, getting the double-double.
Right. Out the gate, Coach emphasized just getting out and running. We had to play off of our stops. So once we got stops and we kind of broke the game through, it was big, JQ was big for us, distributing and, also scoring. So, he ran the team well today, and, our offense was flowing. And I feel like when we get stops, our offense is hard to guard.
Thanks for your question, Drew. Moving along, our next question will come from Steve Moulton with WZZN. Steve, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Jalen, congratulations on the win. Tell me about the locker room. What was it like there in the locker room post game?
It was super excited. Everybody was super excited. Everybody was hyped. It's a big milestone in our program. First Sweet 16 since 2004. So, it was big for us. We like to soak up our accomplishments. So we'll soak it up for the day and prepare for UCLA throughout the week. But it was a nice, excited locker room after that game. I'm just proud of my guys for pulling through and getting here.
Okay, thank you for your question, Steve. Next, we'll go to Joey Blackwell with Bama Central. Joey, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Jaden, congrats on the win. My question is really simple here. How does it feel to finally have Josh Primo back on the court with you guys?
Feels amazing. Super proud of how he attacked his rehab and, really wanted to get back on the court for the team. And, he came out and gave us strong minutes, came out and hit shots, crashing the offensive glass. He was a big contribution to today's win. So, it just feels good to have him back out there with us. He deserves to be out here on this big stage, and, just couldn't be more happy for him.
Thank you.
Thanks for your question, Joey. Next up, we'll go to Gary Graves with the Associated Press. Gary, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, Jaden, obviously, beginning of the season, you all expected some kind of improvement, but again, the Sweet 16, could you all have imagined something like that even when you all were winning a lot?
Right. I mean, it was always something we imagined, always something we thought we were capable of. So, I mean, we always talked about it. To be here is special, and the feeling is kind of indescribable at this point. Because this team has worked so hard to get here. So, like I said earlier, we're gonna soak up, this moment and how much it took us to get here. But it's definitely, something to be proud of for this program and organization.
Okay, thank you for your question, Gary. Next, we'll go with Mike Reeves from AP Radio. Mike, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
And Jaden, you guys are generally you're a good 3-point shooting team, but what keys you in as a team to know that it may be a night like it was tonight? Is there anything in particular that sets up a night when you're hitting at such a high rate as you did this evening?
Right. I mean, usually on nights that we shoot well from three, we're able to, get past our defender and, get paint touches. And, once we get paint touches, it opens up a lot of opportunities from three. So I feel like we did a good job, getting into the interior and making spray outs and kick outs to open teammates. And, once we get paint touches, it's easier 3-point opportunities for the whole team.
Okay, thanks for your question, Mike. Next, we'll go with AP Steedham from WHEP. You can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Jaden, congratulations. Jaden, I wanted to ask you, before the game, when you're warming up, are you feeling it? Do you know that night is going to be good for you? And then what has happened to Alex Reeves? Where's that confidence level coming from with Alex?
Right. In warm-ups, not even myself, but, we all just try to come in and, just stay focused and locked in. It's a time where we got to, prepare ourselves, make sure our shots are dropping. There's days where you feel like your shot is dropping and, I feel like that every night. Our guys are coming in confident that their shot is going to fall. So tonight just happened to be a great night for us shooting the ball. And for Reese, it's amazing to see how much he's doing for us right now. He's came in with a positive mindset, coming in, knocking down shots for us. He's playing huge minutes for us, and it's a big reason why we won these past 2 games.
Thanks for that question. Next, we go to Tony Tsoukalis with Bama Insider. Tony, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Jaden, Javon had his first double-double, first career double-double. How big was that for him? And then how big was just the whole bench today?
Huge for JQ. He's a super unselfish guy. We all know he could score the ball, but he's a great facilitator, great distributor. So, he found the open guys today, and he also found his own rhythm. So, it was huge for us. We had, 19 assists as a team. So he had 11 of those, and that was huge for us today. And, it was big.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Scott Griffin, can you please identify who you're with and ask your question after you unmute yourself?
Yeah, ABC 3340, Shaq. There was a period of time early in the season when Herb Jones had foul trouble and had some games, and you guys kind of carried on. Now it just doesn't seem like a big deal. You guys aren't phased when he gets in foul trouble. There's a confidence on both ends of the floor, it looks like.
Definitely, Herb struggled, with foul trouble early on in the season and today as well. So, we got guys ready to come off the bench, next man up mentality. So, when the guy's down one game, you got to be ready to come in and, contribute to our team on both ends of the floor. So, I feel like our guys are coming in confident, ready to take up that role and, Herb's role when he's out the game. So, I feel like we've done a great job of that every time Herb's coming in foul trouble.
Thanks, Scott. And our final question, we'll go back to Cecil Hurt with the Tuscaloosa News. Cecil, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Talk a little bit about the energy that Juwan Gary brings. What do you get from him. He's in the starting lineup today, but what does he bring to the team in different areas?
Right. He comes in and gives his all each and every play, each and every possession. He's going for every rebound that's in front of him. He's great on the offensive glass. He gives us a lot of second chance opportunities. He runs the floor hard. He defends. He finishes at the rim. So he's bringing a lot to the table for our team right now. He's a great guy to have out there. He's all about the right stuff, and it's great to see him playing well right now.
Thank you.
Okay, Jaden, thank you again so much for your time. Congratulations and best of luck against UCLA in the Sweet 16.
Thank you.
And everyone will be joined in a moment by Alabama head coach Nate Oates. At this time, all hands will be lowered. And so you can use this time to, again, raise your hand if you will have a question for Coach Oates when he joins us here in a minute. Coach Oates, congratulations on the win. Thanks so much for your time here. If you're good to go, give us a thumbs up and we'll start.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Fantastic. We'll begin with an opening statement from Coach Oates, then go to your questions. When we do, again, you can use the raise hand function to indicate you'd like to ask a question. And when you're called on, please state your name and media affiliation first. Coach, before we go to those questions, please give us a brief opening statement.
Really happy for our guys. It's been a long time since they played in the Sweet 16 years, so these guys have really bought into playing the right way. And I think, defensively we'd be one of the top 5 teams in the country, all year. But the offense was bound to come. So I just told them after the first game, let's just lose ourselves in the game, lose ourselves in the blue collar stuff and the defensive stuff. I reached out to Coach Pitino after the Iona game. I actually talked to him this afternoon. I wanted to get his thoughts on us. He told me the same thing. He said every Louisville, Kentucky team he had, the hardest game was the first one. He referenced the San Jose State game when they were a 36-point favorite. It was a 1-point game at the half. And, he just told his guys they got enough talent that it's going to come, just focus on defense. I'd been what I'd been telling our guys, but I told them, Coach Pitino said the same thing. He's a Hall of Fame coach, won a couple national championships. I think he knows what he's doing. So I just said, let's do that. You look, and Petty, won the blue collar last game. He's playing really hard. He's just way too talented to not have a good game here pretty quick. So he led the team plus minus with 19. He had 20 points, shot 4-9 from 3. Shaq had 21, 5-8 from 3. So can't say enough about those guys. Quinterly comes off the bench and has 9 assists in the first half, ends the game with 14 and 11. So, a lot of guys stepped up. And the SEC Player of the Year, Herb, only, has 6 points and 6 rebounds in 17 minutes and can't stay out of foul trouble, and we were still able to do what we did. So, that just kind of shows what everybody else had going today. So.
Okay, thank you for that, Coach. Now we'll go to questions from the media. Remember, you can use the raise hand function to indicate if you want to ask a question. And our first one will come from Michael Casagrande with AL.com. Michael, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Nate, it looked like you guys quite an emotional release at the end, or when Petty hit those 2 threes right in a row, right in front of the bench. It looked like you almost gave him a hug or a high five when he's running by. What was that moment like to have that, see him go through those struggles and then make those shots?
I just been talking to him. I think he's just been all about the right stuff for the majority of the year, these last 2-3 months, and he deserved to play better than what he had played, and I think he was putting a lot of pressure on himself, and I just felt like he could use a shot to go through, a couple back-to-back, it was huge. I was happy for him and excited for him, and, hopefully this gets him on a roll here. So he's been playing super hard. He just, for whatever reason, he wasn't making shots. So he's making shots now. That's the John Petty we all know. So it's good to have him back.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Next, we'll go to Drew Carter with CBS 42. Drew, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Nate, you guys give yourself another week in the bubble there in Indianapolis. What do you think about spending another week in the quote unquote controlled environment? How you planning to spend the time?
We got to figure out something to do to spend our time. I told the guys, most mentally tough team may come out of this thing, so we're gonna get out. I got out and enjoyed the outdoors a little bit today, man. Before today, I'd been here a week. I'd been outside one time, outside of getting on a bus and getting off. So we had a couple of the guys go out. Maybe we'll make it mandatory. Maybe we'll get a little softball game going. I don't know, something. They let us go over to Victory Field. That's nice. I'll tell you what, the food's been great. The first day was a little struggle. After that, it's been good. Our nutritionist, Amanda, has been great, supplementing but the hotel food's been good, and the meals we got there, and then she supplements it with some snacks and some other meals. And I put on like 10 pounds since I've been in the bubble, so I need to hurry up and get out of the bubble. Hopefully it's a couple more weeks, but I might need to start disciplining myself with the eating in the bubble or get a little bit more exercise, one of the two. But we'll figure out what to do with the players. We've got our academic coordinator Brittany with us. She'll be on them with some academic stuff, and we'll watch a lot of video. We'll get them in the gym, spend some time in the gym, and try to make sure their legs are fresh. They've been playing cards. I got to learn how to play spades. It's not like my card game of choice, but I think by the end of the week maybe I'll know how to play spades. But we'll probably do a little something other than that too.
Thanks for your question, Drew. Next, we'll go to Tyler Martin with Bama Central. Tyler, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Coach. Primo made his return. Didn't really look like he missed a beat. 23 minutes, 10 points. How big was his return to the lineup for you guys tonight?
I thought he was huge. We needed big guards. They had those big guards that they post a lot, and he's 6'6", 200 pounds, athletic, and with length. I thought his minutes were huge for us. He had that. He's 2 of 4 from 3. He's been working too. He hadn't been able to go live in practice, but he's been shooting a lot, and he's a confident kid. He works hard. That tip dunk was what got me going though. Showed his athleticism a little bit. So I think maybe that'll give him a little bit of confidence. He was all up on the rim on that, and they went to the zone, and he crashed, got to the old boards. We got really good kids, and he's as good a kid as it comes. So I was happy to see him play well in his first game back after that injury.
Okay, thank you, Tyler. Our next question will come from Cecil Hurt with the Tuscaloosa News. Cecil, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Coach, could you give us an update on Jordan Brunner? Why couldn't he start? Why couldn't he really go tonight? Is it still the knees just didn't come around after the first game?
Yeah, he's not as athletic as he was before the knee surgeries, and they're starting Scott, who's essentially like a 3/4 at the 5. So it wasn't that he couldn't go. And me and him talked last night. He's a smart kid. He sat in my room and told me, Coach, I'm a, basketball mind, I think. He said, look, hey, we talked about the matchups. We thought Galen Smith would be a better matchup for him. Well, they only played Galen 4 minutes. So it was hard to get Brunner those minutes. We thought Reeves and Brunner could match up when they had Galen in a little bit better. But, when Scott was in, we liked the Juwan Gary matchup a little bit more. So we changed it up. Charlie was in the NBA for 5 years. He talked about when the Golden State Warriors were rolling and they had starting lineup, they switched it for the finals. At this point, you do what you got to do to win the game. Brunner's a team guy. He's all about whatever it takes for the team to win. Obviously, he'd like to play a lot more minutes because he's a really good player, but we built this thing on getting stops and guarding, and we didn't think the matchup was good, and he got beat on the one blow-by there, because with the way they run their offense, there are a lot of 5 out, and there's a lot of switching that was going on with kind of their different actions. So it wasn't even just necessarily that one matchup either. It was get switched on to some of those guards where we felt like Juwan was a little bit more able to stay in front of those. So we played Juwan a lot. We played Herb at the 5 some. If he would have stayed out of foul trouble, he probably would have played a few more minutes at the 5. But we liked the matchup a little bit better.
Okay, thank you, Cecil. And next, we'll go to Joseph Goodman with AL.com. Joseph, you can unmute yourself to ask your question.
Congratulations, Nate. I'm wondering how someone could gain 10 pounds in the bubble. What's your favorite bubble snack? Thanks.
Oh, shoot. You have no idea. Like Amanda gets these guys smoothies every night, so I've been. She had them like potbelly Oreo milkshake with a cookie. After I had a potbelly sub, it's literally like every 3 hours there's like a new meal popping up, and we the staff does this little like, kind of fat loss, weight loss contest from like January till the week of the SEC tournament. So I go all in. You know, we try not to get too out of shape during the year by doing this contest. So we weighed in that Monday before the SEC tournament, and I was down as low as I'd been since last year before the SEC tournament. So now I'm just putting it all back on in the bubble. So it's all bad right now. I gotta get myself back on some discipline here. But after we're done with the season, I'll get back on the discipline here. Right now, I'm trying to lock in to watch some. Plus, when you're watching video late at night and there's just available snacks everywhere, I gotta be a little bit more disciplined. But right now, I'm just worried about watching video, making sure our team's ready to go, making sure they're in a good spot. I can get myself together later.
Next question from Tony Sukalis with Bama Insider. Tony, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, Nate, there was a time when, when Herb got his second foul, you guys had a 6-point deficit. You were able to kind of respond with like a 19-4 run. Just how big was that? You kind of seemed like you gained control after that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of weird that we made the run without Herb because he's such an integral part of what we do. But, I thought guys stepped up. Primo was good, Quinterly was good, Keon Ellis was good. We were able to do this without Herb in the game a lot. So, I think we went on two 19-4 runs. There was one in the first half. Then I think we opened the second half on a 19-4 run. So Herb was involved there for part of the second half. But even at that, he got his third foul fairly quick and had to come out. So, Quinterly's been playing well. I mean, shoot, our runs obviously were fueled by offense and defense both tonight. And when Quinterly was in, the offense was flowing. I mean, they couldn't stay in front of him. He got in the paint. 11 assists and 9 assists in the first half. He was a big part of that 19-4 run.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Time for just a couple of final questions. We will go to Drew DeArmond from WZZK. Drew, you can unmute yourself to ask your question.
Yes, Coach. I just wanted to ask you about Alex Reeves once again. A lot of production off the bench. He was able to, once again shoot the three well. Gave you double figures, and talk about also just the bench as a whole. I mean, they played with a lot of energy, and I thought with the key against Maryland, you didn't have a lot of depth.
I thought Reeves was great. I mean, he's been great both games. Shot 2 of 2 from 3. Last game, 3 of 5 now. He's 5 of 7 in the NCAA tournament. He showed up. We talked about it. We were 4-7 in 1 or 2 possession games last year. So we looked at every single. I think we picked 12 games. There was one more. The Kentucky game ended up being more than 2 possessions, but it was close. It was a 1 possession game with a minute and some change to go. So we looked at those 12 games, and one thing that kept recurring was Reese made big shots in some of those late games last year when we needed him to. So kind of our mindset, what I thought, Reese, steps up in some big moments. Well, I think he's stepping up in big moments now. And the NCAA tournament can be a little overwhelming for some people. It's obviously not for Reese. Thought at the end of games last year he was big for us. I think it's been big for us in the NCAA tournament. Really happy for him because I think his attitude's been great all year. I addressed that with the team because a couple guys didn't play very many minutes tonight that usually play a lot more minutes. Herb didn't get nearly as many minutes because of foul trouble. Brunner, Rojas. I said, Reese had a lot of games where he didn't play nearly as many minutes as he wanted during the year. He kept his attitude great all year, and look at what he's doing now when season's on the line in the NCAA tournament. He's playing his best basketball of his career, in my opinion. So really happy for Reese. He had 13 and 5 in 16 minutes and shoots 3 of 5 from 3. I mean, he's hit big three. Those 2 threes he hit against Iona were huge. I mean, he's playing well for us.
Okay, and finally, we'll go to Steve Moulton with WZZK. Steve, you can unmute yourself to ask your question.
Coach, congratulations on the win. A couple of things, if I could. I did ask Herb after the first game how he'd grade that game. He said he'd give him a C. I do wonder what kind of grade you'd give your team this time in particular. And one other question I did have was about the technical foul to JQ. What kind of explanation did you get on that?
Well, he talked to the other kid. He hit the three and said something to the other kid. So JQ said the other kid said something to him first and started it. Well, typically it happens that the second guy always gets hit with the tee. The referees had warned us earlier in the game, no talking. And when you're in the NCAA tournament, everything's a little more on alert. All the officials are getting evaluated, all that. So we had explained to our guys before the tournament about it. We had to re-explain it to them early in the game when the referees warned us. And then so when it happened, the referees had warned us. Like, I wasn't very happy with JQ. We're trying to win the game, and he puts him on the free throw line before the game was over. So I thought he played great. He just needs to be a little smarter and just beat him on the scoreboard. We don't have to talk when we beat him. Just beat him on the scoreboard and play well. So the first question, giving a grade to the game, I mean, look, defensively, we were a 1.17. I'm looking at the HDI box score right now, our analytics company, which was not where we needed to be. Our goal was like a 1.0. So defensively, I didn't think we were very good. So we're not going to give it an A. I mean, offensively, we looked great. We were 1.48, which is outstanding. So it was nice the offense came around. I looked on KenPom. I think we jumped from 38th to 27th in the country in one game. So that's how good the offense was. So maybe a B. If our defense would have been where it needed to be, it would have been an A. But we got to get both sides of the ball going. So hopefully against UCLA, we can get the defense back and keep the offense rolling as well.
Well, Nate, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again, and best of luck in the Sweet 16 against UCLA.
Thanks. Appreciate it, guys.
That's it for this post-game news conference. A transcript of Coach's interview will be provided by ASAP Sports at ncaa.com/transcripts. You can also find a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your night.